Okay, the last reason for electrolysis is to purify metal ores. So once you've got the rock with the copper in it, or whatever metal that you're looking at, and you've processed it and made it form blister copper, which is almost pure but not quite. Okay, so you've got some copper that you've isolated from the rock, and it's undergone a process where it's almost pure, but it's still got some iron, nickel, zinc, silver, gold, a few other ions in it, and you want to make pure copper. So it's basically like electroplating, where you start with a pure copper sample as your cathode, and you're going to add to that. So the copper ions will come across to add to it. So if we look at the electrochemical series, we've got our copper, and we've also got, so this is the copper metal. We've got zinc and all of the other nickel, iron, any other metals that might be part of it, including metals up here like silver, and there would be gold above it. Okay, so at the anode is the metals that are losing the electrons, undergoing oxidation. The electrons are progressively removed from the strongest reducing agent, so the one that's furthest down, which is probably going to be zinc, and then progressively, as if the zinc ions that are on the outside of the anode have lost their electrons, then the next strongest reducing agent, they will start to lose their electrons, etc., etc. So they'll lose their electrons, and then they'll form ions in the solution. The main one that's going to be present, so these are on the outside. Once they've all disappeared from the outside, there'll be mainly copper losing the electrons and forming copper ions in solution. So once they've all lost their electrons, there'll be all of these like zinc ions and nickel ions and cobalt ions, but mainly copper ions in the solution. So metals like silver or gold don't lose their electrons because there is always some copper present to be losing electrons, and copper is a stronger reducing agent, so the copper will be losing the electrons instead. So that as this electrode gradually starts to wear away and all of the ions are formed in solution, the silver and gold atoms will eventually break off and go to the bottom with their electrons still. So now we've got a whole lot of electrons here. This solution starts as a copper solution, so that when we're looking at reducing, we have these less strong oxidizing agents, and the strongest oxidizing agent that's present in the solution will be the copper. So the copper always gets the electrons and turns into copper metal on the cathode. Copper is the strongest oxidizing agent, so it always gets the electrons. Okay.